In this video, I will explain to you the three main things when it comes to training. The first thing is technique, the second is intensity, and the third, it is how to program your diet in a way that will maximize gains. So just sit down, relax, and let's begin. Now, technique. So for each exercise, there is a certain kind of technique that is the best, but on a general rule of thumb, a good technique is a technique that is designed to target the desired muscle to target with this exercise while also minimizing the risk of injury. Now, I'm about to tell you 3 tips to do that. But before that, how do you actually find the right technique? You basically search on YouTube. That's what I was doing when I started. I just searched on YouTube, how do you bench press? And then I learned how you do bench press. And then I practiced. And that's what I want you to do for the first month. Just learn the technique, because in the long term, building a good technique habits at first will really benefit you. Now, a few key tips for good technique. Slow eccentric. So there is basically the concentric when you push, and the eccentric is when you go down. And basically when you go slower on the eccentric, you induce more muscle damage with less reps and weight, which means that you will reduce the risk of injury by default. And you will also train some of your ligaments and tendons through doing that, because that's where we train those. And then the second thing, minimizing cheating. So instead of using other muscle groups to help you lift the weight with the desired muscle. There are a few exceptions for sure, but I won't touch them in this video. And then the third thing, it's a consistent technique. So you have probably heard about progressive overload. There is one way to cheat it that will cause you to make a lot less progress, and it is, so at week 1 you do this technique in the right way, you bench the right way, and then in the week 2 you take a bit of momentum with your ass, you get it off the bench, and then on the third week you go down and then you just do touch and go reps. You basically fake progressive overload, you cheat it, which means that you won't make nearly as much gains as you can, and this is how you avoid it. So you start and you do touch and go reps, and then in the second week you do the same reps, and then on the third week you do the same reps and you get stronger. Now the second thing, and it is one of the biggest mistakes that beginners make when they start training, and luckily I didn't make this mistake, and that's one of the reasons why I think that I've managed to make a pretty decent amount of progress. So basically I see so many new lifters at the gym, they pick a pretty decent amount of weight and they just lift it like this. Oh, it starts to be painful, let's stop lifting. That's what goes in their mind, I think. And it is a huge fucking mistake. So I'm not saying that beginners should train all the way to failure. No, for sure, for the first month you shouldn't even get close to it. But after the first month, after building the technique, the foundation, you should have a rough estimate what is your point of getting to failure, and also you should train intensely enough that you actually start to slow down on the concentric part of the movement. That's the sign that you get close to failure. You start to slow down on the concentric while putting a lot of effort. So many guys out there on social media and short form medias tell us to focus on a certain rep range because it is the best for hypertrophy. It might have some impact, I don't really know, but I know one thing, intensity has a lot more impact. So I really suggest that you focus on it more, at least after the first month. And then the third thing when it comes to training, how you program your training, basically your training plan. There are a few key things to it that according to the literature will help you to maximize gains, and here they are. The first thing is that you train each muscle group at least twice per week. So I see so many intermediate lifters train a muscle group once per week, which is according to the literature, right? It might be working for them, but for most people it doesn't work, because after training a muscle once, it takes around 1 to 2 to 3 days to recover it completely, which means that by not training and resting even more, we are missing out on one window for hypertrophy. We are missing out on gains. Now the second thing, it takes some time for our muscles to get recovered. After training them, it takes a few days. And by training the same muscle day after day, you are basically stopping this process. You basically delay it even more. You are missing out on making gains. And that's the second thing. And now the third thing, it is to train all muscle groups. So when I started training, I skipped legs like every fucking gym, bro, for the first whole year, bro. And it was a huge mistake because my current legs are pretty fucking small in comparison to my upper body, which is, it's not fun to have small legs. And the way to avoid it is to basically include each muscle group in your training plan. And the two best training plans for beginners, in my opinion, are either upper-lower split or full body, which are very fucking simple, but they work because they follow all of those principles. Now that's it.